And we're live on a Tuesday, a special edition Tuesday live stream. Man, you guys already have it popping out here in the chat. I'm hoping today we have a little bit better luck in terms of the stream. Unfortunately, yesterday, as I mentioned, the internet gods were not on our side. Had a lot of issues with the internet connection. Thankfully, I think we have them resolved. I have a couple of screens out over here. You guys can't see them, but I can. Just in case I have a little playback for me, and it looks so far it's looking good. So I want to welcome you guys to a special Tuesday night edition of the J Area live stream. Big shout outs to Sylvia, Alex, Peter Parker, Ria is the real one, Luis, Sanfran5, and Lori. You guys are already popping off in the chat, getting it started, getting the conversation flowing. So I'm glad to see you guys are joining us today on a special edition of the Tuesday night live stream. We have some of our topics here in the corner regarding Monday Night Raw because we didn't get to that. We weren't able to do it. All I did was put the internet in the camel clutch and he made it humble, Sanfran5 says. So first of all, to begin the stream, I want to thank you guys and illustrate my appreciation and my gratitude because yesterday was a little frustrating. You know, we had some issues with the internet connection. I've already made that apparent. I made sure to put out a post in the community tab. Hopefully most of you got wind of that. It was a very frustrating night. I'm not going to lie to you because I look forward to this opportunity to be able to connect with you guys, not only in regards of Monday Night Raw or pro wrestling, but just as a matter of the community that we have built here. When we first set out with this channel, we wanted to create an area in which all of us can express our opinions and our fandom in regards to pro wrestling. So I saw the outpouring comments, whether it was on that stream, whether it was in the comments on the community tab, and now seeing it here live in the chat tonight. You guys have definitely motivated me in continuing to do my best in terms of entertaining you, maintaining the discussion, and it's very reassuring to see that we have people here who are as invested, maybe even more invested than myself. You guys are the reason why I keep coming back. It sounds cliche, but truly, this would not be possible without you, because you guys give me that extra incentive, that motivation to keep coming back. So we're here on a Tuesday night. Big shout out to the chat, everyone joining us. Again, looking at the playback here, I have my phone underneath the screen. We're looking good. We're sounding good. So let's go ahead and start. Let's talk pro wrestling. Obviously, Monday Night Raw is the main talking point. But if you saw in the title of the video and the thumbnail, I left it pretty open-ended. Because obviously, it isn't a Tuesday. It isn't a Monday night. It's a Tuesday night. As Kevin enters the chat, what's up, my guy? Glad you can join us today on a Tuesday. Welcome to tonight's chat. Like I said, if you're just joining us, we had a little technical difficulty yesterday when it came to the internet connection. We're back. We're back live and in living color, I might add. Good to see you on a Tuesday, my first Tuesday stream. Hey, me too. Me too. I'm definitely thinking about expanding into more live streams. Just a matter of what's really going on, right? Obviously, we're talking on a Monday night. See, I'm so used to the Monday night. It's not Monday. It's Tuesday. Tuesday. On a Tuesday night, we're talking Monday Night Raw. One of the main storylines coming out of Monday Night Raw, of course, was the main event, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in an anything goes match. I thought it was a great change in pace for Monday Night Raw. We haven't seen Rhea Ripley in a singles match on Monday Night Raw in quite some time. I like what they're doing with Io Sky. She's the #1 contender. So we're introducing a little bit of drama there between the two. If you ask me, I'm on the side of Io Sky. Big fan of Io Sky. Love the moveset, love the presentation. Been a fan of hers since she arrived in NXT. I'm a fan of Mommy. I like Rhea Ripley. Big fan of hers as well. But the storyline with her and Liv Morgan, we're now teetering on the point where it's like, you got to give me something new. You got to give me something fresh. And we're seeing that with the inclusion of Io Sky. Io Sky will be challenging for Liv Morgan's Women's World Championship this upcoming Saturday night, for Saturday night's main event. I'd love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Saturday night's main event? Who do you think will walk out of Long Island, New York, the Women's World Champion? The story is Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. But part of me, not even a small part of me, a big part of me, wants to see Io Sky, kind of throw a wrench into the plans that is Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, just to change it up a bit. I think, if you ask me, you can still have this feud, but I don't think the world title is necessarily needed for what we're going with. Liv Morgan has already achieved her revenge tour. She's taken the title away from Rhea Ripley. She took away Dominic. She took away the Judgment Day. It is now more personal than a world title. Of course, you can make the argument that Rhea Ripley wants that world title, a title she did not lose. 100%. I can get behind that. But we can put that on pause. Rhea Ripley will get her chances at the title, no matter what. She will always have that star power, that necessity to be at the top. So I expect her to be the champion sooner rather than later. But someone like Io Sky, who's been on fire since coming back to WWE, since debuting on the main roster, I look at it as an opportunity to branch off into two different storylines here. Like I said, the Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley story doesn't need the title. But if you give it to someone like Io Sky, you now have two major programs in the women's division on Monday Night Raw. Saturday night's main event shaping up to be a big show. And speaking of big shows, how about the big showdown between CM Punk and Seth Rollins? Two of, I think, the best Monday Night Raw has to offer. A storyline that is just barely scratching the surface. It's well documented, the issues between Punk and Rollins, but now we're getting a little bit of context here. CM Punk, in his interview with Jackie Redmond, was talking about how Seth Rollins came to him as a young gun. He looked for advice, looked for a mentor. He wanted training for free, CM Punk might add. Imagine that. Free training from a guy like CM Punk, the best in the world. Tyler is in the chat. Welcome to the live stream, Tyler. Thank you for joining us here on a Tuesday night. We're just talking about CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Now, I'm inclined to side more so with CM Punk on this. He is the veteran. He's the grizzled veteran. One of the best of all time, if you ask me. And you have someone like Seth Rollins coming out asking for free advice, free training. Now, granted, hey, CM Punk could have done it pro bono. He could have done it for free. But when you're the best in the world, there's a saying, if you've seen The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker says, if you're good at something, you never do it for free. So I don't blame him there. He talks about how Seth Rollins was on the verge of receiving his pink slip, getting fired from the WWE early on during the NXT and the developmental days. And one of my favorite lines of the night was when CM Punk talked about how Seth Rollins was on that top 10 list of who's next to get fired, but Punk shielded him. Tyler's saying, I'm just watching NXT. It was a good show. I only got to see the first half of NXT. So I haven't seen the entirety of that episode. More likely, I'll probably watch it after the stream or maybe tomorrow morning. But I saw some of the stuff on NXT. We saw, the segment between Julia, Roxanne Perez, and Cora Jade. Wesley versus Javon Evans as well. Of course, we knew that Tony D'Angelo was going to give a title shot to Ethan Page. I haven't gotten that far yet, though. But I do love watching NXT. But I was so eager to go ahead and have a live stream today on a Tuesday night because I missed you guys yesterday. I gotta get my fix of a live stream with my fellow members of the J area. So we talk about Punk and Rollins. We already talked about Punk's side of the story, but then Rollins comes out with his side and talks about how he has this level of a grudge, resentment towards CM Punk. Because when he left in 2014, he walked out. He took his ball. He went home. And for those who didn't, they were seen as the enemy. They were villainized. Shout out to Mama Ramos has entered the chat. When membership for members. Soon, we're working on that, Tyler. I appreciate you mentioned that. Soon, because of the success of the live chat, we're doing pretty well, but there are some limitations. There are some certain milestones to hit on YouTube. So, for example, to unlock memberships, you have to get 3,000 hours worth of views. We've been having this channel for about a year in the current iteration. And since then, when we started the switch to wrestling, I was probably at 100 hours. You need 3,000 for the membership. And as of this morning, we're at 2,600. We're about 400 hours worth of viewership away from unlocking membership. And that's awesome. I'm glad that you brought that up in the chat, Tyler. Because with memberships, I really want to do more exclusive content, especially for you guys. You guys are the diehards. Guys like Sylvia, Kevin, Tyler, people like Luis, Alex, obviously San Fran 5, and Mama Ramos. You guys have been here for the majority of the time. You know, when we talk about the live streams, I'd say a lot of you were there for the first couple of them. And here we are. I want to say maybe about a month or two in, I've lost track of time. But in terms of membership, I'd love to do more exclusive content for you guys. I'm thinking about more live streams, more Q&As, some reactions. Obviously, there's limitations to what I can show on screen because YouTube will, demonetize it. They'll copyright it. But there are times where maybe I would like to do like a live stream of watching a match, watching a show. You know, we designate a certain time, we push play, and we're watching a show together. Or if it's, let's say, a premium live event, we do a live stream, live reaction, like we're watching together. Kevin says, I'm a simple man. I see wrestling, I click. And that's how we get along. You and I were two peas in a pod here. Anything wrestling related, count me in. Count me in. But yeah, for memberships, that hopefully will be coming within the next month or two. Again, just depending when we can hit that milestone of 3,000 hours in total for viewership. Like I said, we're about 400 hours away. So we're making strides. I will say the live streams have been doing great. They've been doing wonders. They're really helping in terms of the engagement, especially with the algorithm. YouTube is very particular about what content they like to push out. So when we have active live chats like this, when we have people joining in the live streams, it's like a little bit of an incentive for YouTube to push that out. So I love the diehards. I love the day ones here. But we're trying to grab as many more people as we can. Let's keep continuing to grow the J Area Wrestling channel, so that we can include as many people as we can. And we talked about this. Obafemi versus Jacob Fatu is going to be a fire matchup. Man, don't even get my hopes up. If we can give those guys like a half hour, like a good old-fashioned Godzilla versus King Kong, the athleticism, the power between an Obafemi and a Jacob Fatu, I don't even know if a ring can contain it. We've seen what happened with Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. I don't even know if a ring can take it. But I'll tell you what they can take. They can take my cold hard cash, because I'll pay for that. Peter Parker says, we'll get 400 hours in no time, my friend. We got you. I appreciate that, Peter. I really do. And that's why I love doing these live streams, because it's instant gratification and it's instant feedback. I love hearing from you guys and knowing what you guys are interested in, what you guys want to see, maybe what you don't want to see, which is why I'm thinking about implementing more live streams. We usually do Mondays and Fridays, but I'm thinking about doing more just because I love the interaction. I love continuing to open the conversation with all of you. It's just a matter of figuring out the time as well as the topic. But that's why I'm saying, you know what? For this video, we're just going to pop up on a thumbnail and a title. Let's talk wrestling, and we'll see where the journey takes us. I can always change the title and the thumbnail afterwards. Tyler says, you should do merchandise soon. I'm thinking about it. But it's all about the supply and demand, right? Figuring out what we can put. I'm a big fan of t-shirts. a graphic t-shirt. You guys see me wearing the black every now and then just because it's something simple. But I'm interested in maybe doing some t-shirts. I'm very big, obviously, into the baseball cap. I think that'd be cool. But again, in due time. I would love to do merchandise when we have that going. You guys already know. I always post in the community tab. You'll be one of the first to know. Kevin says Raw was fire. Also, Tyler, let me know some ideas if you're interested in some merchandise. I think obviously t-shirts and hats, you can't go wrong with those. Something like that. Stickers. Something simple, right? But I'm open to the idea. Kevin says Raw was fire. I agree. I completely agree. That's why my biggest regret last night was not being able to talk to you guys about it. We had a lot of great stuff going on. Obviously, we talked about the main event. We talked a little bit about Punk and Rollins. And then there's the triple threat for Saturday night's main event coming up. We know that Finn Balor was next in line against Gunther for the world title. But because of the interference by Finn Balor and Damian Priest's business, it's now going to be a triple threat match. And I love triple threat matches for two reasons. One, number one. The number 3 is my favorite number. And number 2, because triple threats are very common to be a good matchup. It's kind of difficult to screw up a triple threat match. Tyler says, I live in group home at my manager's house. He has brand of clothing. Well, there you go. There you go. That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Tyler. We talk about the triple threat match. Saturday night's main event. I want to talk about that for a second here. What are your guys' thoughts on Saturday night's main event? We have a few matches announced. We know the main event obviously is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship. There's the Women's World Title. We talked about that. There's the World Heavyweight Championship, triple threat match. Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. And of course, there's the matchup to crown the inaugural WWE Women's United States Champion. It should be a good show. A 2-hour show with 4 to 5 matches on the card. Should be a solid show. It'll be the first time Saturday night's main event will air since 2008, when I believe the main event was Jeff Hardy versus Edge during the build-up to SummerSlam 2008. I think it was August 2nd, 2008, if I'm not mistaken. We got a big one here. Shout out to everyone in the chat, including Ramos Jr. Keep up the good work on the channel. Appreciate it. And shout out from South. Hey, shout out. Right on. Appreciate the comment there. Appreciate the shout out to everybody. Awesome. Awesome there by brother BXL Contreras, aka Sports Entertainment Guy. Big shout out. Thank you for joining the chat. We're just talking about Saturday night's main event and also all things WWE related. I want to hear from you guys. What are some matches that you guys are looking forward to in terms of Saturday night's main event? Any early predictions in regarding to the matchups, to the card? Because if you're asking me, when it comes to a match like this, big thumbs up there from brother. Because if you ask me, when it comes to an event like this, you gotta have a title change. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like, especially when it's the first one in a long time, they want to set a precedent. They want to pop a rating for sure. I think we're in store for a title change. Do you like Cora Jade? Tyler asks. I'm a fan of Cora Jade. I think it's a shame that she's had some instances where she's had injuries and it sidelined her. I think she's one of the young, up-and-coming talent in a great women's division. I think since turning heel, that's done wonders for Cora Jade. I love her interaction with Roxanne Perez as a tag team. I can't wait for them to have a feud again. They did have a little bit of feud there. But Cora Jade, I am a fan of. I like the look. I like the gimmick. I have big hopes for Cora Jade, just so long as she stays healthy. She's had her history with the ACL, hoping for a solid and lengthy career for her. She's great. Big Nef Network says, I love you Solo. Give Dom the belt in 2025. Send Finn to SmackDown. Low-key, I kind of agree. I love Finn. I'm a big Finn guy. Loved him since the Bullet Club days in New Japan. Was a big fan in NXT. Move him to SmackDown. Give him a fresh start. I think the Judgment Day storyline has ran its course. Finn, I think, is in store for a push. He's a solid wrestler. A solid character work. Maybe, I don't know if they want to turn him babyface, But I like Finn, the Demon Valor gimmick. But when you talk about Dominic Mysterio, Dominic's going to be a future world champion. As crazy as that might sound, I think definitely he is, in store for a world championship title. We saw the reaction a couple weeks ago, or rather it was last week on Raw. Him versus Gunther, the crowd was cheering Dominic. Who would have thought, right? What a reaction for Dominic Mysterio. The fact that he was getting cheers against Gunther, either that's a testament to Gunther as a heel, or Dominic's slowly going to get over, which is what happens when you're a credible heel. Look at The Rock, John Cena. Those guys started as white meat baby faces who needed an edge. They turned him heel. And over time, they organically got over with the audience. That might be happening with Dom Mysterio. And I think he's improved greatly in the ring. His character work is great. His facials, fantastic. We might be in store for it. I don't know if it's going to be soon for a turn. But for a world title, I kind of see it, man. It's not that crazy. Kevin says you should react to Bleacher Report's top 100 wrestlers list. The top 20 is very debatable. He also shouts out at Brother BKL. Shout out from the South Bronx, I see. I would love to. You should react to Bleacher Report's top 100s list. The top 20 is very debatable. I mean, hey, we could do it now. Sean says hi. Everyone say hi to Sean in the chat. What's going on, Sean? Welcome to the live stream. Let's see. I'm actually curious now. Bleacher Report usually has interesting articles on there regarding pro wrestling. The only thing is, of course, 100. I haven't seen this list. Big shout out to Kevin here. Kevin in the chat, did they just release this when? Top 50, he says. Okay. I'm not sure if it's this one. I see a top 50 WWE superstars of all time, and it was in April. Last drop on April 3rd, 2024. Is this the one we're referring to? I just want to make sure. Because I'm already seeing a couple of the names here. If this is the list. If not, I mean, hey, I'll still talk about it. There we go. But there's an ad popping up. I'm trying to get rid of the ad here. Okay. Well, regardless here. Well, I'm just going to jump into it then. I want to see real quick this listing that Kevin's brought up, but I also would like you guys to see it as well. Okay, I have an idea. It's a work in progress for us all, right? There we go. Okay. Kevin brings up, it's a top 50 here. You won't see my face, or maybe you can. I could just change the screen here a little bit. Number 50. I would love to hear your guys' take as well when it comes to this top 50 list. At number 50, we're looking at the top 50 stars in the WWE's history. At number 50, we have The Big Show. How many fans of The Big Show do we have out there in regards to WWE? At number 50, I think The Big Show certainly is one of the best big man of all time. Now, you could make the debate whether how credible he is, because this man was turning heel and babyface like literally every other turn. To be included in the top 50, I'm fine with it. I'm down with it. At number 49, we're trying to get the fixings here. Much better. Okay. Number 49. Lita. Lita, one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Now, I think growing up, you were either a fan of Trish Stratus or Lita. Now, personally, me, I was a fan of Lita. Don't get me wrong. Trish Stratus, I think, is one of the greatest of all time. She's won countless of championships around her WWE career, 7-time champion. But I definitely think that someone like Lita deserves her flowers. I think it was a shame what happened towards her at the end of her career, because a lot of people were very down on Lita because of the whole Matt Hardy allegations and the Edge issues. I remember in Survivor Series 2006. Oh, real quick here. Kevin says, Big Show in the Attitude Era was elite. My most memorable moment of the Big Show was when he unmasked a bald CM Punk in 2008 or 2009. I was like 6. That's right. Yep. When he had shaved his head because Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio had defeated him, and we had to have a bald CM Punk. Big moment there. I remember that too. It was on top of a ladder. You guys remember that? On top of a ladder, CM Punk unmasked by the Big Show. I do agree in the Attitude Era he was elite, especially coming out of that first run from WCW over to WWE. And now thinking about it here, I'm going to move back to Big Show here for a second. That way people who are joining us in the live stream, we're talking about some of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Big Show was, I think, one of the first guys, if not the first guy, to have won the WCW, the WWE, and the ECW championships. Not a lot of guys can say they did that. Tyler says you should bring reacting to pro wrestling, try not to look away. I know early on in the channel's infancy, I did do a little bit of those. But if that's something that we would like to see more often, yeah, absolutely. I'm down for it. Lita had an incredible moonsault off the top rope. She did. She had a great moonsault, Kevin. Do you guys remember when Lita had that matchup against Trish Stratus as the main event of Monday Night Raw in like December of 2004? And she does that tope suicida, or the suicide dive, for those who have watched wrestling long enough. And she like scorpions herself. Like her legs hit her, like the back of her head essentially. And I'm thinking like she broke her neck. Kevin says the Straight Edge faction was speaking facts in his promos. Don't do drug, guys. What a great guy and inspiration. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's why I grew up such a fan of CM Punk. I was so much into like the straight edge culture because of CM Punk. For not Obviously not drinking, not doing drugs. I don't poo-poo on anybody that does take part in drinking alcohol. That's fine. That's your prerogative. But it's not for some of us. Big Nef Netyu would say, I would make KO champion. That's in reference to our Saturday night's main event talk here. Honestly, I think at any point, now might be the time. Now might be the time to crown him. Kevin Owens is definitely in line for winning a championship. It's been 7 years since he's won a world title, since losing the Universal title to Kevin Owens. But then, you look at Cody Rhodes, who's won the world championship. At WrestleMania 40, he finishes the story. Big time moment for him, but eventually that title reign's going to end. And we talked about how Saturday night's main event, I think, is in line for something big. And what's bigger than having Cody Rhodes lose the championship to Kevin Owens? That would be monumental. Will it happen? I don't know. But I mean, it is a moment. Let Cody win it back at the Royal Rumble. You could. You easily could. You reward Kevin Owens for having a great career in the WWE. And by no means am I saying like, oh, he's done. His career's over. I'm not saying that at all. But you could always just give back to Cody and have him rock with whatever it is he's going to be doing in WrestleMania season. You guys say, man. Certainly an option there. Moving along on the list here, we're talking about the top 50 wrestlers of all time. At number 48, Big Van Vader. Vader's an interesting one because I never associated him with the WWE. He's a WCW guy. Oh, we're gonna pause. Let's pause the talk on the list here because I want to hear. Big Nef Network says Cody is basically Lex Luger gimmick, red, white, and blue crap. I mean, okay, hear me out. Hear me out here. Tyler says I hate Cody Rhodes' championship title reigns. Shaking my head, it's a boring championship. I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes. I'm a supporter of Cody Rhodes. I'm a supporter of the story. I'm a supporter of what they've been doing with Cody Rhodes. So I'm interested to see Cody wins the belt during an election year. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong. He did win in an election year. I don't see him as a Lex Luger, though. That's the thing. With Cody Rhodes, it's more than just being red, white, and blue. Obviously, yeah, he's the American Nightmare in Philadelphia. I mean, hey, Network is talking facts. I got to give him that. It's much more than just being red, white, and blue. He's doing it for his father. He's doing it for his family. We talk about the story. Which is why I wouldn't put him necessarily in the line of Lex Luger. Also, with Lex Luger, you have to keep in mind, the WWE was trying to have this moment where they were going to replace Hulk Hogan. And Lex Luger, they tried it. It didn't fit the bill, though. You guys are seeing me behind the scenes here. Just changing the title of the video. Back to what we were talking about. I can see why people say it's a boring title reign. Because there's not a lot of monumental stuff going on. We look at like a title reign like Roman Reigns, obviously, is the go-to. And Roman Reigns is full of cinema, the bloodline story, right? Cody Rhodes hasn't had that opportunity. He hasn't had that opportunity. He had matches against AJ Styles, Logan Paul. Kevin Owens is the first, story that's really rich in his title reign. Big Nef Network says AJ versus Cody was good. I agree. Roman time almost up too. Yeah, Roman's up there. Roman's up there. Network says Vader should have been the champion. I agree. Ahead of his time. He went in the Hall of Fame way too late. Way too late. Big Van Vader in WCW was a monster. Tyler says Cody Rhodes finished storytelling at Win WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes is going to be the champion. He might lose to Kevin. I think we're all in agreement. There is a legitimate shot he loses to Kevin. But I think he does regain the title. It's just a matter of what's the story for WrestleMania. Kevin says Cody is a good champion. Reminds me of Brett. Vince said he made Brett champion because he was the safest choice, meaning Brett won't get in trouble in the public like Flair or Snuka. I couldn't have said it better myself, Kevin. Cody's a company guy. Cody wears the suits. He's able to speak well. He's able to project. Cody Rhodes is the guy that you want to represent your company. They've been looking for a John Cena for years. And Kevin nails it on the head here. He says that he's very much the safest choice. Now, whether or not that's fair to say, it's fact. Roman Reigns, I think, is a great option too, but he's a heel. Tyler says, I'm calling it now. Roman Reigns should win the World Championship in 2025. I'm actually against that. Roman doesn't need the title. Roman held the title for 4 years. Now, is he worthy of the championship? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we just got a 4-year title reign. I can't see Roman Reigns getting the title back after having it for 4 years and not having it for 1 year. I personally think Roman can go the rest of his career without the title. He's already solidified himself as one of the greatest champions in the modern era and of all time. I think that goes without saying. Network says we need to see Cody versus Randy Orton for the belt. I agree. When I had first did my predictions for WrestleMania, the one coming at WrestleMania 41, I'm of the mindset where I think that Randy Orton should be the one to take the title off of him. Give him an opportunity to win the 15-time world champion. The story is already set. Randy and Cody are mentor and protege. I don't see how you could not have that. Network says Roman versus Rock, Cena, or Punk. I'm assuming that that's one of the storylines you'd like to see next year. Or all of them, really. We've seen Roman versus Cena. We have seen that. Roman versus Rock is the ultimate endgame. Roman versus Punk is something that I don't think a lot of people knew they wanted. But now it's like, how can you not, right? That's certainly a matchup that I would want to see. Tyler says, my dream match is Gunther versus Roman Reigns. I agree. That would be awesome. Roman Reigns and Gunther, two of the very best that the WWE has today. Network says Heyman is the key. Fair. That's accurate. He can connect all three of them. Heyman has a beef with The Rock, has beef with Cena, has history with Punk, has history with The Rock. I agree. Number 47, Dean Ambrose. Hear me, Dean Ambrose over Vader? Here's my thing, though, when it comes to that. Vader's not a WWE guy. He's a WCW guy. So we know the list itself is the greatest WWE superstars of all time. I like Dean. Dean is lit. That's why I think they put him over Vader, because Vader's not really associated with the WWE. Plus, he has a WWE championship. Vader doesn't. When you look at the grand scheme of things, I think people remember him more so than Vader. Because Vader was like in the WWE for what, maybe a year and a half? 2? Do you remember the WWE was considering incorporating sports betting into live shows? I'm glad they backed away from that idea. We could have been cooked this. But yeah. Isn't that crazy to think that we were trying to get betting on that? Network remembers when Vader hit Kane with a wrench. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't that one of his last storylines in the WWE in 98? If I'm not mistaken. Number 46, AJ Styles. I don't know. I think you can make the argument AJ goes higher. AJ Styles might be a little higher. Since day one, when AJ Styles came to the WWE, he won the championship in his first year. He had great matches against Cena. He's had great face runs, heel runs, consistently a great worker. Maybe it's just me. That's what I'm saying. Network agrees with me. He says they're disrespecting AJ. I think you can kind of put him up higher. Number 45, Asuka. We're going to start moving along here on the list. If you guys want to keep dropping some comments in the chat regarding some of your favorite wrestlers, any feedback or opinions on the wrestlers that we're seeing, Asuka number 45. I'm a fan of Asuka, but I would have AJ over her. Easily. Exactly. Yeah, Kevin agrees. Asuka over AJ is crazy. AJ had classics in TNA with legends. People forget it. Here's the thing, though. With AJ, we can't, for the purpose of this list, they're saying it's WWE. That's why like a guy like Vader could easily move up higher on this list, but it's for WWE. AJ should be higher on this list. He damn sure should be above Asuka. And I love Asuka. Also, is there some kind of criteria they're ranking from these wrestlers? Maybe it's said in the very top. AJ versus Cena, classic. I agree. Royal Rumble 2017. One of the best matches I've ever seen. Okay, here's the criteria Kevin was talking about. Historical significance. We're looking at championships, popularity, needle mover, time active, pay-per-view appearances, and skills, whether that's in-ring, mic, or charisma. There's our criteria. By looking at that, AJ's over Asuka. And I'm a fan. I want to make that very clear. I like Asuka, but AJ's clearing her. After Asuka, number 44, Kofi Kingston. I mean, longevity, yeah. He's there. Won a WWE title. But I don't think I put him over AJ. What a heel turn, too, by the New Day. I want to mention that real quick. If you're welcome to the live stream, I'm seeing some more numbers here increase in our viewership. Welcome to the live stream. This is the J Area Wrestling Podcast, Wrestling Live Stream. And we're talking about the top 50. See, yeah, he agrees. Can't put him over AJ. We're talking about the top 50 pro wrestlers in WWE history, according to Bleacher Report's listing. This listing came out in April, so it's relatively, it's still within the same year. Not too much of a difference, I think, when we're talking about pro wrestlers. Number 43, Jeff Hardy. Now, Network, why'd you got to bring that up? Network says Brock beat Kofi in 2 minutes. Brock beat Kofi in like 6 seconds. It was crazy. Oh my God. What a dark time. Jeff Hardy at 43, I think, is crazy. I actually think that's foul. Jeff Hardy was like one of the more over baby faces of all time. The fact that he's at 43 is crazy. Jeff should be top 15 or top 10, Network says. I don't know about top 10. I think top 25, top 20. For sure. I mean, you talk about the revolutionizing tag team wrestling in WWE. The ladder match. And again, it's talking about popularity. We saw it. The criteria said popularity. Jeff Hardy was like on top of the world in the 2000s. 43 is crazy. Rick Rude. Bro, his ladder match spots are still shown 25 years later. Okay, no disrespect to Rick Rude, but I got Jeff over him. I got AJ over him. Rick Rude, a former Intercontinental Champion, one of the best heels of his time. But if we're talking about popularity and championships, we're talking about needle moving. All the respect to Rick Rude, I don't have him above AJ or Jeff. Rick was cool, died too soon. I agree. Rick was a great heel. And yes, unfortunately died too soon. But I'm trying to be objective here. See, Kevin agrees. Rick Rude was fire, but AJ clears him. I agree. And believe me, it's not like me saying like, oh, Rick Rude's trash or Asuka's trash. No. They've earned their spot on the list. They're legends in their own right. But there are certain people where it's like, this ranking I don't agree with. Shout out to Kevin, too, by the way, for bringing up this topic about the list. This is a great idea. And this is why I like the live streams, because I'm getting more feedback from you guys on what you would like. We can incorporate more of this. Talking about lists and now figuring out, again, I told you guys, I'm newer to the YouTube scene, so we're still figuring it out. You saw me kind of figure out how to put it on the screen. We're here. We're live. It's a Tuesday night. And we're talking about the top 50 pro wrestlers of all time, according It's a Bleacher report, and I already have some discrepancies when it comes to this list. Kevin says, I think AJ is better than Jeff Hardy. I'm not mad at that. But I think I'd have Jeff over him. Oh, you haven't seen the list either. Well, that's awesome. Hey, we're all reacting live together. Okay. No. Jeff had crowds going nuts, the disrespect. No, I disagree with this one. I'm a fan of Sasha Banks. But I don't think she should be this high. Not this high. Not compared to Jeff or AJ. Again, I'm a fan of Sasha. You'd be very hard pressed to find me someone that I don't appreciate or someone that I think is good. I do not think Sasha is above AJ. I don't think she's above Jeff. In the WWE, I want to hear your guys' opinion on Mercedes Moné. Network says Sasha's washed up. What is it about Mercedes? Okay, wait. He says Marlena's better than Sasha. I don't know about that. Hold on. That's kind of crazy. I don't know what it is about Mercedes, but ever since moving from WWE to Japan and AEW, I don't know. Something's off. I think she's still great in the ring. Maybe she's just playing a really good heel. But I just don't know. I think Sasha's better than Mercedes. But I don't think Sasha's on this list. I mean, maybe not this high. Marlena with the cigar is aura. I'll give you that. But I wouldn't put her on the list. At number 40, superstar Billy Graham. I mean, okay. He was the prototype for what like a Hulk Hogan became. Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura, they took inspiration from superstar Billy Graham, one of the original WWE champions back when it was the WWF. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with having him on this list. I'm okay with having him at around this spot. I think it's important to acknowledge See, Graham was copied by plenty. Facts. I'm okay with this. I think you have to incorporate a lot of the original guys who paved the way. Kind of similar to how the NBA did its top 75. You got to include the legends. You got to include the old heads. I'm okay with this. 39, Rob Van Dam. I like it. He's an ECW guy. But Rob Van Dam, again, like Jeff Hardy, over with the crowd. Awesome moveset, awesome gear, awesome entrance. What was there not to like about RVD? Network says Rob was lit. He was lit in more ways than one. We know this. Rob Van Dam, former WWE champion, Intercontinental champion, tag team champion, Money in the Bank winner, hardcore champion, ECW champion. I mean, come on. RVD versus Taker hardcore match was a classic. I agree. Vengeance 2001. RVD versus Taker. 38, Owen Hart. Rest in peace. I get sad. I get sad when I see Owen Hart. Because it was like, we didn't get to see him. I don't think we got to see him at his peak. Like, what happened to Owen is a tragedy. Owen Hart. And some argue that he was the best wrestler in the Hart family. Intercontinental champion, tag champion, Slammy Award winner. Again, gone way too soon. Way too soon. Put Shawn Michaels on the shelf. Yeah. That concussion. That's right. Kevin says, I'll never forget the ECW crowd one night stand. Great crowd. We bought ECW one night stand 2006, that specific event. And awesome show. Awesome turnout. Kevin says Vince should have put an end to that show that night. That's tough. It's tough. And you know what? The conversation that I don't think it's talked about enough is Owen Hart falls from the ceiling all the way to the ground. And he dies in the middle of the ring. For those of us joining us the live stream, We're talking about the top 50 pro wrestlers of all time according to Bleacher Report. And we're talking about Owen Hart and the tragedy that happened at Over the Edge 1999. He falls to the ground to his death. Blood all over the mat. That's a crime scene. And they continue the show. Now, it's easy to say that we should end the night. And then they make the argument that, like, oh, the fans paid money to see the show. Owen would have wanted the show to go on. I don't buy that. It's your call at the end of the day. It's your call at the end of the day. Number one, that's a crime scene. Someone died, and there's evidence there on the mat. You can go back and you can see the blood on the ground. You can postpone the show. If you look at In Your House, Beware of Dog, there was a big storm that knocked out the cameras, and they eventually postponed it, came back to it, and finished the show. They could have done that here. You did not need to finish the show. He shouldn't have never been doing the Blazer stuff. I agree. That's another thing that actually really gets me mad. You have a talent like Owen Hart following the Montreal Screwjob. Capitalize on it. Push him to the moon. Have a feud with DX. Have a feud with Vince. Owen Hart could have been like this huge anti-hero in the Attitude Era. But they put the blue blazer gimmick back on him. Ridiculous. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. New Jack versus Mass Transit was a crime caught on video. Literally, we're talking about crime on video. The New Jack Mass Transit incident is one of the more infamous things in ECW. If Sylvia's still in the chat, we talk about ECW. That's one of the more controversial moments of all time. Not just in ECW, but in WWE, in wrestling in general. But yeah, the Owen Hart stuff never... Oh my god, it never gets old. It never stops hurting. And keep in mind about that. Some of us weren't even there. Kevin and I were probably not even born yet when this happened. And if we were very small. Oh yeah, New Jack versus Vic Grimes is crazy too. Sylvia says, I'd like to learn more about him. This was all live. Yes, Sylvia. You can probably see on YouTube Mass Transit. If you have access to Hulu or Vice TV. Hulu or Vice TV, Sylvia. There is a docu-series called The Dark Side of Wrestling, or The Dark Side of the Ring. It's called The Dark Side of the Ring. And there are about 45 to 50 minute long episodes that just focus on the dark side of wrestling. You have obviously the Owen Hart tragedy. There's a whole episode on New Jack that talks about the Vic Grimes issues, that talks about Mass Transit. There's other stuff like the Von Erich tragedy. It's a lot of... It's exactly what it sounds like, the dark side of wrestling. So if you have Hulu or Vice TV, the dark side of wrestling. Network says Owen and Cornette, my guys. Dark Side of the Ring. Yes, Dark Side of the Ring. I keep saying wrestling. Dark Side of the Ring. That's what it's called. It's either on Hulu, that's where I watch it, or if you have Vice TV on wherever you watch TV or cable, wherever. But I think Hulu's probably your best bet. Dark Side of the Ring. 37, Mr. Perfect. Another guy who left way too soon. Mr. Perfect should have been a WWE champion. Awesome. I'm glad Dad brought it up. I hope you enjoy it. It's heavy stuff, but it's very interesting stuff. Rest in peace to Kurt Hennig. Mr. Perfect should have been a WWE champion. He should have got that push in 1990. He should have won the Royal Rumble. Let's start there. In 1990, we had the Royal Rumble event that Hulk Hogan won. Had no business winning that matchup. He didn't need it. Mr. Perfect could have won the Royal Rumble. That would have helped propel him even higher on the card. Should have been a WWE champion. Great in the ring. Great on the mic. Great character. Literally had everything going for him. Mr. Perfect in 90 and 91 was on fire. Perfect Plex on the Big Show was crazy. what's crazier is the fact that no one decided to give this guy a real push. Even in WCW, I think you can make the argument that Curt Hennig could have been pushed even more. Also, shout out to Curtis Axel, his son. I'm not going to act like he's on Mr. Perfect's level. It's very hard to get on that level, but still, shout out to Curtis Axel. The first father-son duo to win the Intercontinental title. The cowboy gimmick was hilarious. I agree. Vince fought God. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did, Sylvia. Backlash 2006. Shane and Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels and his partner, God. The entrance for God is crazy, too. Curtis Axel is his son. That's crazy. I didn't know that. Yeah, Curtis Axel. Curtis being a tribute to Curt Hennig, his father, and Axel being a tribute to his grandfather, Larry the Axe Hennig. So he's a third generation star, son of Mr. Perfect. Keep it moving along here. Number 36, Batista. Batista in his prime. That takes me back to SmackDown, World Heavyweight Champion, had feuds with guys like Edge and The Undertaker. I mean, look at the picture. That alone, I mean, wow. Network says he could have been in Legacy with Cody and Ted. Could have been. He could have been. Curtis Axel was a Paul Heyman guy. He was. Very good. Was a short-lived partnership, but yeah. If you remember, Ryback was there too. I don't really want to remember Ryback, to tell you the truth. Batista versus Taker at Mania. Great match. WrestleMania 23. Just the feud itself in 2007. Batista versus The Undertaker. We had matches at WrestleMania 23. We had the Last Man Standing at Backlash 07. The Steel Cage match. The Hell in a Cell match. Cyber Sunday. The Triple Threat at Armageddon. Batista was on fire. Batista's in my top 5. I don't care. When I think of world champions, I think of the Animal. Batista's heel work versus Cena and Mysterio was awesome. I don't think Batista gets enough love. And to think about it, he was only, if you think about it, his real run at the top was like 05 to 2010. That's 5 years. Because in 02 to 03, he was still with Evolution, figuring it out. 05 is when he wins the world title. He leaves in 2010. What an impact. Batista, a legend. And yeah, he did start late. Like a Diamond Dallas Page. They started late. But both just legends. I love Batista. Big fan of DDP as well. Scott Hall and Jake the Snake should have been heavyweight champions in the WWE also. Facts. And how crazy is it that Jake Roberts never won a championship in the WWE? But just the level of impact and influence that he has on the business is ridiculous. Scott Hall, multiple-time Intercontinental Champion, but the gimmick itself of Razor Ramon, oh my God, champion. Maybe because he left for WCW, but who's to say if he doesn't stay with the WWE that he doesn't win the championship? Scott Hall and Jake Roberts for sure. Both went in the Hall of Fame, 2014, together. 35, The Ultimate Warrior. Jake mentored Scott and DDP. Hello. Yeah, there you go. Shout out there by Network. Ultimate Warrior at 35. I don't know how I feel about this one. I think he's a great icon. Again, this is the Ultimate Warrior character. But there are certain guys I would put over him. I'm not going to act like I'm a huge Ultimate Warrior fan. I can appreciate him. I can appreciate his work. But it's very difficult at that time in the Golden Era for the same reason why I didn't like Hogan. It was like all show. Network says Warrior was an entrance and that's it. Yeah, and I mean, if the match went a little too long, he would get blown up. He would get a little bit too winded. The entrance was cool. The promo's a little out there, but I get it. I get why he got over. I will say I loved his matchup against Randy Savage at WrestleMania 7, but that might be more so because of Randy. And look at Network and I are on the same page. He says Randy had to carry him. I was going to say that's very much in large part to Randy Savage. who better be high on this list. Number 34. Steamboat. Intercontinental champion. One of the best baby faces, pure baby faces that they have. Like, I personally think you can make the argument. The timing is crazy. You could make the argument he was like Rey Mysterio before Rey Mysterio. And what I mean by that is like a perennial baby face. Someone that's just beloved by everybody. The moveset, the promo. We talk about Randy Savage. How about talk about Ricky versus Randy at WrestleMania 3? And what definitely was the best matchup, I pick it over Andre Hogan. Andre Hogan is just the moment. It's just for the slam. It was a spectacle. But the best match at WrestleMania 3. And what I think the argument was, the best WrestleMania match until Taker versus Shawn, it was Ricky versus Randy. I like it. I like this pick. Booker T at 33. Booker T needs more love. I certainly think one of the best things that come out of WCW. A 6-time world champion. The best king of the ring. Certainly. Entertaining. Whether it's in the ring, in an interview, on commentary. Booker T is one of the greatest of all time. I think he's one of the greatest of all time. I personally think you can make an argument to put him a little higher. He's won every championship. Except for the WWE title, to be fair. But a world champion, he had US title, Intercontinental title, tag title, King of the Ring. Great character work. Great in-ring work. All-around performer. Sanford and Fight can confirm that's right. My brother and I, our family, we were at Judgment Day 2006. For those who aren't aware, we attended the Judgment Day 2006 event where Booker T won the King of the Ring. And it was awesome. I don't think at that time, I don't think any of us knew that we were in store for one of the best runs as the King of the Ring. Network, oh my God, he says Triple H is lame for doing Booker T dirty. Should have beat Hunter at Mania. Yes. Booker T, talk about the build-up. WrestleMania 19, Booker T versus Triple H world title. And they have so many innuendos. The promo, I know he's going to mention it, the promo where Triple H is like, people like you aren't meant to be world champion. I mean, yeah, I get it. They want Triple H to be this evil heel. He's basically insinuating racism. The only way you can make that redeemable is by having Booker go over. And they beat him. Booker T was over. And they beat him. But they didn't just beat him. Triple H pedigrees him. And it takes 30 seconds. A long 30 seconds for Triple H to crawl and pin Booker T. Big mistake. Booker should have won that matchup. His time with Goldust was fantastic. Awesome. Entertaining. There's spoofs, whether it was like Star Wars, the Crocodile Hunter. Awesome. Harlem Heat. Shout out to Harlem Heat. Booker was on fire from the gate. Beat Austin up. LOL. Just an awesome guy. And what I like about Booker, real quick, before we move on to the next guy. Booker T was smart. He was open to so many things. He was okay making fun of himself, being silly, like a Kurt Angle. And that endears you to the audience. That certainly endears you to the higher-ups because you're saying, okay, this guy's a worker. He's a player. He's going to be on the team. No WCW guy could do what Booker did in WWE. I agree. Not even a WCW guy. I don't think there's many people who could have filled in the shoes that Booker T had. Remember the supermarket brawl between him and Austin? Still talked about. Over 23 years later? One of the greatest moments in WWE history, that supermarket brawl. 32. Jake Roberts, we just talked about him. I like it. The promos, Just look at the picture. You talk about aura. Look at he has a snake around his neck. And he's comfortable. Jake Roberts, a legend. Great heel. Could get over as a baby face. Damien around his neck. The promos. It never gets old when people talk about and they praise Jake Roberts. They say this is a guy who was so different in a time. The 80s was like those promos where they were loud, they were brash, they were screaming. Warrior and Hogan sweating, oily, all over the place, and there was Jake. He was just quiet. The way he spoke. He brought it down to a hush. Focusing on the words that he was expressing, having people slide in a little closer, just so they pay attention onto each word he said. Awesome stuff. Jake Roberts had amazing aura. Him and Scott Hall deserve a championship. Facts. Ask Randy about Jake and that damn snake. No Diddy. Oh my God. His snake bit Randy Savage on live TV. And it was like one of the first instances of like a horror moment for WWE. Jake versus Austin at King of the Ring. Iconic. Jake Roberts in large part put over Austin. Got the Austin 316 promo going. We owe a lot of gratitude to Jake Roberts, whether it's the invention of the DDT, whether it's putting over Austin, just the heel work or the promo work. Can't praise him enough. Randy Savage made Damien bite him backstage before they did it live, and Jake did it to prove it wasn't poisonous. Facts. This is correct. I'm glad I found this channel. I'm glad you found it as well. And I'm number one. I'm the kind of guy where I'm gonna give praise. High praise to Kevin for the idea of doing this list. High praise. So thank you, Kevin, for that. Thank you, Network, for joining us here on the live stream. We're gonna do more stuff like this more often, and I'm glad you enjoy it. What else we got here? Kane at 31. Kane. Ignore the politics. This is just going to be pro wrestling. Kane is badass. That look specifically. When Kane debuted, it's my personal favorite debut of all time. Kane, I think, goes down as one of the greatest characters of all time. Now, you could make the argument here, controversial, because he's associated with some of the worst stories of all time. Takes two words. The worst storyline of all time, Katie Vick. Katie Vick. God awful. How about the baby punt? 2004. God awful. Big Kane versus Blue Kane versus Cocaine at WrestleMania. Imagine that. Bad Blood still scares me. Network says when he ripped the door off. It's great. Menacing. They put him over. Kane. World champion, WWE champion. I think he's won every title but the US title. Man. Who would win that triple threat match, Kevin? Just look at it. Okay, and also, unpopular opinion. I've seen that this is an unpopular opinion. I want to know your guys' take. When Kane gets unmasked in 2003, that run from 2003 to about 2004, what are your thoughts on that? I like that Kane. I'm not saying he's the best Kane. I think the best Kane is the one we see on the screen. But freshly unmasked Kane, coming out with the black towel, he has the Slow Chemical theme song. I put that up there personally. I'm a big fan of that one. Triple H as Kane in the funeral was horrible. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think there might have been a funeral taking place next door while they were filming that segment. I'm pretty sure I heard that. It might have been on the Bruce Pritchard podcast. I'm pretty sure that they had a funeral next door. It was either Katie Vick or when Vince McMahon goes to church. One of those, there was something going on next door. See No Evil, Kane was a psycho. I'm into it. He set Jim Ross on fire. Big fan. Kane destroyed Shane too. Him and his testicles, if you remember. He didn't light them on fire. He electrocuted them. Shout out to San Fran 5 because I know he's laughing right now when he electrocuted his testicles. Number 30. Razor Ramon. The bad guy. The toothpick. Razor Ramon, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, the look. The presence. It's awesome. I mean, we talk about confidence. We talk about oozing charisma. Razor Ramon. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Should have been a champion. I mean, look at the picture. That's a wrestler. That, he confirmed, I chuckled. That is a wrestler. That's a star. That's someone you want to build a company around. Razor was at... Hey, yo. I really thought Razor was actually Cuban. Turns out the dude was Italian. Hey, play the gimmick, right? Play the gimmick like Santino Marella. Santino Marella plays an Italian. He's Canadian. I don't know if he has Italian in him or not, but I can confirm he's from Canada. Turns out dude didn't even speak Spanish. That's what you call excellent marketing and brand. It was awesome. It was a play on Scarface. I mean, look at the chain, the vest. I loved the way he would come into the arena, had the little slide. You know, I mean, one of the greatest of all time. Number 29. Trish Stratus. One of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. And I think it's also important to recognize that Trish Stratus came into the industry as a fitness model who was just a fan of WWE. And she evolved. She improved her stuff in the ring. She improved on the mic. Won 7 women's championships. Was the face of the division during a dark time in the WWE because women's wrestling certainly wasn't what it is today. Set in motion and blazed a trail for what we see today in the women's division. I'm okay with it, having her this high. I'm a big fan of, obviously, people like Jake, Razor, but in terms of the grand scheme of what we see in women's wrestling, Trish, I think, along with Lita, I will say Lita was a little low for me. But having them around this spot on the list, I'm fine with. Network says Scott took over WCW in 6 months. Him and Kevin were the whole show. Saved Hogan's career. I agree. Sable walked so she could run. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Sable walked so she could run. I'll give you that. Not mad at that at all. Number 28, China. The 9th wonder of the world. Women should be on their own list. Fair, okay. But I mean, still, this is overall stars. But you could make your own list. China, the 9th wonder of the world, beat up the guys. She won a men's title, the Intercontinental Championship, on 2 occasions. Gone too soon. The mistreatment of China surely was a misjustice. Big Neff Network says Sable was God without taking a bump. 99 China was dope. I agree. 99. 2001 China was where we saw a fall off. Unfortunately, the issues that she had suffered in her real life led to her ultimate demise. Rest in peace to China. And honestly, it's a poor thing to see a common theme about wrestlers passing away too soon. Her and Sexual Chocolate was great. Sexual Chocolate being Mark Henry for our new fans of pro wrestling. And with Eddie. Eddie and China, yes, classic. Again, you could make the argument, hey, they set in motion what Dominic and Rhea became. They did it first. China and Eddie, when they had their prom moment, that was fun. I really enjoyed that. China, a legend. And she's not in the Hall of Fame by herself. She had to get into the Hall of Fame as a member of DX. But China could have easily gone as a solo entry into the Hall of Fame. Rest in peace to Joni Lore. Okay, wait a minute. At 27? At 27? No. I'm waiting for someone's reaction in the chat. At 27? if she's on the list, I would put her like at 49, 48. Like, if you want to put her on the... Dude, it's because she's won that championship like 14 times? No. No. I like Charlotte. Don't get me wrong. Again, it'd be hard pressed for me to say, oh, I don't like this wrestler. But this is too high. You have guys like Razor and Jake Roberts low. And it's hard for me to like praise someone who's still like on the roster. She's only in WWE because of her dad. I mean, hey, you can make an argument for a lot of people that they're only in there because of their parents. This is the one I have an issue with. I do no, and let alone that. You said she's only in the WWE because of her dad. Her dream wasn't even to be a wrestler. Her dream was Reed. Her brother, Reed Flair. Rest in peace to Reed Flair. But because he wasn't able to do his career, she just picked up on it as a tribute to him, which is nice. We love the support. We love the family love there. But 27 is outrageous. Her dad is Ric Flair. Ric Flair. It's outrageous. This is egregious. This is a travesty. Who did this article? Because I'm convinced now that this person just recently started watching wrestling. That's outrageous. At 26. Hey, I love Seth Rollins as well, but I don't know if I'd put him this high. Better than Charlotte. Rip Reed, but it's not fair how she gets special treatment and wins the title and beat people who deserve the strap more. You know what? I don't know how you guys feel about Ronda Rousey, but do you remember on SmackDown, Ronda Rousey was the champion and Charlotte came out of nowhere, returned, and beat Ronda for the title in like minutes. She literally comes and goes, wins a championship without any type of, earning it. Like, what the hell is that? She jumps the line and just get a championship opportunity. Meanwhile, you have people who go years, their careers without a championship. Seth Rollins at 26. I mean, I think at the end of his career, he's going to warrant it. He's won every title. By the time his career ends, he'll probably end up higher. Vaughn said, so I'm indifferent with this one. I'm not mad at it. But again, for me, it's kind of tough seeing active wrestlers so high. But I'm not mad at it. Off the new era when he turned heel. Yeah. I mean, he really did. That's a great point here. Because that heel turn on the Shield set in motion for a lot of the stories that are being told today. So, you're not wrong. Great matches too, I will say. Let's keep moving here. 25, Edge. Yes. 100%. 100%. He's literally won everything. If we're going to talk about championships, he's won everything. Talk about popularity, one of the best heels of his era. One of the best stars of his era. Tag team wrestling, singles wrestling, TLC matches. He has it all. Has it all. Absolutely. Love it. Love it. Moments on top of moments. Credibility. Needle mover. Absolutely. I have no notes. No notes. Maybe higher. Maybe. I have to see who else is on the list. But we're now in the top 25. 24. Ric Flair. Ric Flair. At 24? Hold on, put a pin in that. Should have won the heavyweight title at AEW. He will. He'll win it. Kevin, I still can't believe AJ Styles was 49. Yeah, we forget that AJ was all the way back there. But Ric Flair at 24. It's again like the Vader argument, where it's like he's a WCW guy. That's the only sense I can make of it. But when you think of it, Ric Flair from 91 to 93, WWE champion. Solid matches against Randy Savage, Bret Hart, even in his return, 2002, or 01 rather. Became the general manager, was a part of one of the more influential groups in Evolution, could still go at his old age. Tag team champion. His match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24, one of the best retirement matches until he screwed that up and wrestled again in TNA. And then wrestled again for his last match ever. 24 is crazy. 24 is wild. Love the title though. I mean, hey, it's like literally lined up. Look at that. One of the best, if I can get it, one of the best title designs ever. 23. Let's keep it moving. Becky Lynch. Becky. I don't know about this. I sound like a broken record. I'm a fan of Becky. I'm a fan of Becky. But above Ric Flair? Above AJ? I would put her over Charlotte. I would put her over Charlotte. But 23? 23 is wild. What are we doing? Her spot as the man, though, iconic. I love that shot with the blood in the crowd after Nia Jax broke her face. First ever women's main event at WrestleMania history. Iconic. Great run as Becky 2 belts. But I don't know, man. Over Edge? Over Edge? I don't know. 22. Daniel Bryan. I'm fine with this. Well, okay, wait. I'm a fan of Daniel Bryan, so that might be bias. But you think about it, his run at the top was 2014. Was for a couple months, and then he got hurt. He came back in 2018. Had a great run again. I think he's on the list. Should he be 22? I don't know. It's difficult. I'm conflicted. I'm caught in the middle. Kevin says, LOL, don't they say earlier that the criteria is based on career longevity? These women like Charlotte haven't even been doing it long enough. It's a great point. It's a solid point. Kevin says AJ over Daniel Bryan. I'm not mad at it. I think in terms of longevity, because there was that retirement, let's think about this. So Daniel Bryan wrestled 2010, right? So he went 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. I'm not going to count 2015 because he was already hurt. He didn't come back till 2018. 19, 20, 21, 22. That's 9 years. AJ Styles came in 2016. He's about to have the same. I mean, you might be onto something here. I personally would put over Daniel Bryan, but AJ's not that far behind. 21. Triple H. At 21? Am I the only? I'm not the only one that thinks that's kind of low, right? Shawn did train Daniel. That is correct. But I think William Regal also had a hand in Bryan Danielson's training as well. Speaking of Shawn Michaels, his close friend Triple H at number 21? I don't know. I think that's kind of low for Hunter. One of the best heels ever. Dominant champion. Solid feuds. Moment after moment. Needle mover. Longevity. championships. Of course, there's always that comment about, well, he married the boss's daughter. But I mean, is it me, or is that kind of low? His return at MSG was great. Yes. Yes, it was. One of the greatest returns of all time. A return so great that MJF had to copy it. The 21's kind of low for me, personally. 20. CM Punk. Wow. Over Hunter? I'm a Punk guy. I'm a Punk guy, for sure. But I mean, over Hunter. That's interesting. I will say, okay, we're talking needle movers. The way Punk was chanted for 10 years. He didn't wrestle in the WWE for 10 years. And they chanted his name like he was on the card. CM Punk is old school. He's of a dying breed. Can talk on the mic really well. I will say, I think CM Punk is one of the greatest to be on the microphone of all time. His promo work is stellar. The way he speaks into a microphone, it's not like he's a pro wrestler trying to sell us on a storyline. He's just talking. That's just how he talks. Some of the best matches of all time. I still haven't fathomed Punk's return to wrestling. It is crazy. It is crazy. Whether it was the AEW return or the Survivor Series return, man, it is crazy. I honestly gave up. I gave up in believing he would come back. I think it was like 2018, 2019. I just gave up. I was like, he's not coming back. And he did. And he came back to WWE even after everything that happened. Now, if that's not a testament, I don't know. The AEW return was better. If we're going off of like single moments, just the return, not the run, but just the moment, yeah. His AEW return was better, but his WWE one means more, I think. His WWE return means more. One of the greatest of all time. I don't know how you guys feel about him being this high on the list. I mean, it's not that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy. But I'm just very protective of CM Punk. That's my guy. What are we at here? Number 19, Randy Orton. Legend. Legend killer. Is it kind of low? Randy Orton, man. So glad to have him back. Over Hunter is crazy. Edge is better too. Edge is better than who? Edge is better than Hunter? Or Edge is better than Punk? I just want to make sure. I would put Edge high on the list. Personally. Randy, I think I'm okay with putting him here. I think there's an argument to be made maybe a little higher. But Randy, I love the comparison that they put with Randy in terms of, they say, if you're going to build a pro wrestler, Randy is the prototype. He makes it look easy in the ring. Edge is better than Punk. Edge is better than Punk. I think in terms of their careers, Edge goes over. Has a better career. I think I'm more inclined to pick Punk, but I might be a little biased. But if we put up their careers and their championships and just overall, not just as a wrestler, but just overall, I would put Edge over. Number 18, Eddie Guerrero, my guy. That's my guy. One of the greatest Hispanic wrestlers of all time. His style transcends styles. Could go as a high flyer, technician, great as a babyface, great as a heel, a legend, an icon. real quick to acknowledge here, Randy has done it all and is the modern day Undertaker for the WWE. Even did a movie for yeah. Yeah. That's a great comment. Eddie Guerrero, legend. Again, I'm biased. I'll be honest with you. I'm so excited for AEW Future. I hope Ray is top 10. I think, okay, I haven't seen the list, of course. This is all us reacting live. I think Ray's coming up soon. I don't know if he cracks 10. I think he warrants it. But I don't think he cracks 10. Viva la raza. Damn right. Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero, I think his passing of we all know Rikishi's number one. Eddie Guerrero's passing was, I think, the moment that really woke me up as a fan. That it set in with me like, okay, wrestling is predetermined, but it's set in motion like, I don't know, man. Eddie's death hit me hard as a kid. I remember finding out about his death on TV. My mom and my dad tell me like, hey, Eddie's on the news. He passed away. And I'm like, what? Like, it didn't make sense. We just saw him on SmackDown. And so I put two and two together like, oh, this isn't the show. This is real life. And if this is real life, then the show is a show? Oh, I remember I cried, dude. I was like 7 or 8. Oh my God, it was devastating. Number 17. Brock Lesnar. I'm okay with it. I mean, he's a huge draw. Box office draw. Legendary matches. World championships on world championships. I don't think there's a lot to say. I get it. That's fine. Move right along. Jericho at number 16. I mean, he's all around. As a performer, all around. I'm not mad at it. I'm fine with it. I don't really have that much to say about it, to tell you the truth. Jericho needs to retire. Who am I to say he needs to retire? But I'm over here playing Day of Reckoning on my GameCube and remembering how great SmackDown was in 05. Good times. I talked about Jericho. I have a question for you, Jay. My questions is that AEW pay-per-views on Max free or nah? So, from my understanding, when it comes to AEW streaming services with Max, what it sounds like is whatever show has already happened, like on Peacock or the network, they're archived. So as long as you have a subscription, you have access to the older shows. But the new pay-per-views, from my understanding, is at like a discounted price. So like, for example, gonna throw a number out. Instead of paying like $60 for a pay-per-view, I think it might be $30 because they're going to put into account the subscription for Max. That's what I think. I don't think they're going to be free or a part of the deal. I think you might have to pay like $30 for the pay-per-view from my understanding off of what I read. I hope I'm wrong and that it's included on Max, but we'll have to wait and see. Jericho over Triple H though. I don't know, man. I think I would put Hunter over. Prime Jericho slept on. I agree. Jericho was the reason I was putting my brother in the walls of Jericho. You can ask my brother in the chat. We still do that time to time. Even though WWE says don't try this at home, what wrestling moves have y'all tried? Be honest. Well, my brother's in the chat, so he can even attest to some of these. I mean, the super kick for sure. The attitude adjustment, the frog splash, anything the Hardys did. A lot of submission moves like the ankle lock, the walls of Jericho. San Fran 5, yep, my brother says chopping. We still chop every now and then. For sure. Figure 4. Figure 4 was a big one that we would do. But in terms of like, not submission based, it was high flying. Frog splashes, leg drops. We were very big into the Hardys. So we were doing a lot of the Hardy moveset. Sharpshooter's another one. Number 15, Mick Foley. I mean, Gunther has the best chop, no doubt. I broke my bed as a child attempting the Swanton bomb. I'm pretty sure we might have broke. I don't remember specifically. We had a trampoline we would do it on. We had like blankets, like a bunch of blankets and like comforters on the ground. We would do it on the sofas. And speaking of home wrestling, Mick Foley, notorious for jumping off of a roof. I'm not mad at this. I'm fine with this. Mick Foley, one of the greatest of all time. I broke Oh yeah, you did break Mom's broom. I remember that. Yeah, he bent Mom's broom because he had a swanton. Number 4, Andre. It goes without saying. 8th wonder of the world. The greatest giant of all time. A great heel. One of the best battle royal experts of all time. Allegedly went 15 years without a loss. Only one to participate in the Rumble 3 times. Fair point. Mick Foley, the only one to be in one Royal Rumble 3 times. I see that you have a championship in the back. Do you have any others? What was your first championship? So, this was a gift. Real quick off of a segue here. The Winged Eagle WWE title was a gift from my family for a birthday. It is my first replica, authentic replica of a title. It's my first. But we had the children's version of the titles. I can't tell you what my first one was, but we had the Spinner Championship. Honestly, that might be the first one. We had the Spinner Championship. We had the Undisputed title, the one that Eddie and JBL wore. We had the SmackDown tag titles. We had the Hardcore title, the Cruiserweight title, the ECW title. Of course, this is all the 2000s versions. The World Championship. My brother, he has the World Heavyweight title. The big gold belt. Not the current world title, but the one that Batista and Rey Mysterio, Triple H, that title, as well as the Attitude Era Big Blue title. The WWF title that was held by Austin, The Rock, Triple H. He has those 2 titles. I have this one. We're working on a collection. So if I do end up having another one, I'll probably do a box unboxing, a reveal. That would be cool. Tyler says, I want a WWE Kansas City Chiefs title and Dodgers title so bad. I was never much into the replica titles for the teams. Because if I want a title, I want the title on TV. And I will say, I don't know if you can see it anywhere. You can't. But J Area is a subtle nod to the Bay Area. We are fans of the Bay Area. So Tyler, you're a Chiefs fan. I think you should know we're 49er fans. So I won't lie to you. We feel a type of way about Kansas City off of those 2 Super Bowls. And we're Giants fans who have beef with the Dodgers. So I'm just letting you know right now, our teams don't get along. But you and I, we're cool. As long as we're talking pro wrestling, we're cool. What wrestlers have you met in person and what shows have you guys gone to? So we have met Rey Mysterio. If you look on the community tab, I had posted a picture, I want to say maybe a couple weeks ago, of when we met Rey Mysterio. We met him in 2008. This was during the weekend of Cyber Sunday 2008. Real cool guy, down to earth, took his time with us. He didn't have to be so nice to 3 random kids. He could have kept us moving along. Rey Mysterio is as advertised. He's really cool. Awesome guy. He's the only wrestler we've met in person. In terms of shows, we've gone to Judgment Day 2006. We've gone to WrestleMania 26, which, come on. Awesome. We got to see Shawn Michaels' retirement match against The Undertaker. Oh yeah, real quick here. My brother reminds me, we met Rey Mysterio. And we got his autograph. He signed some pictures for us. Signed a couple magazines that I had where he was on the cover. And my brother what we did is they had this thing in WWE magazine where you could like make your own Rey Mysterio mask. So I traced the mask and I gave it to my brother so he can design it. He colored it. He gave it like a black and yellow design to it because Bumblebee was very big in our household. Transformers, it just came out. So he does it black and yellow and he gives it to Rey Mysterio. And Rey says, "Oh, this is really cool. Is this for me?" And he says, "Yeah." He said, "I designed you this." And he tells him, "I'm going to have my guy work on this and we're going to make this a mask. I promise you guys on everything I love." He wears the mask about a month or two after on Monday Night Raw. The one my brother designed. That tells me and tells you what kind of guy Rey Mysterio is. He took a random fan's drawing of his mask, had them make it, and then wears it. It's awesome. I wish we had taken a picture of the design. We have a picture with him. And you can see online the mask that Rey wears, the black and yellow. But it's like, that's so cool. I'm so happy he was able to have that moment with him. We've gone to WrestleMania 26. We've gone to a couple episodes of SmackDown, a couple episodes of Raw, NXT Live we've gone to. We just recently went to the Monday Night Raw on November 25th. The one where Damian Priest puts Gunther through the table. I uploaded a video on the channel, kind of like a highlight reel from our perspective of what we saw. Sanford 5 was like 7, yeah. Oh, we went to Royal Rumble 2019. Good call. When Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumbles. Good call on that. Bro, Rey would become my number one wrestler after that. He's up there. He's up there. He's in my top 5. Rey Mysterio is the GOAT. One of the best wrestlers of all time. My favorite masked wrestler of all time. Just an awesome dude. Awesome dude. Number 13, Roman Reigns. Hey, I'm not mad. I mean, longest reigning champion of the modern era, big money draw, cinema, the bloodline, the tribal chief. In Phoenix, right? Yeah, it was in Phoenix. It was in Chase Field, where the Diamondbacks play. Royal Rumble 2019. Cool event. So we've gone to WrestleMania. We've gone to Royal Rumble. If they ever come for SummerSlam, that'd be so cool. Or Survivor Series, something like that. That'd be awesome. Here's Rey Mysterio, number 12. I didn't think he was going to crack the top 10. I didn't think so. But here he is. He should have been the one to beat The Undertaker's record. I'm not opposed to that. I personally think Undertaker's streak never should have broken. He should have retired undefeated. If you have Roman beat The Undertaker and beat the streak, because he did beat him at WrestleMania, he's a heel. The crowd would have never supported him. You would have had to turn him heel. I think it makes sense for him to beat The Undertaker because you want to give the nod to someone new, put them over, give them the win. Roman is solid. I thought maybe Bray, if booked correctly, it could have been Bray Wyatt. But Roman Reigns is not a bad pick. Tyler says, I like Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's cool. Dragon Lee has the potential to be the guy to fill in the Rey Mysterio role. They've been looking for guys like Sin Cara, like Kalisto, to fill in that Rey Mysterio role, and they can't. Dragon Lee, I think, has the best shot of the ones we've seen in recent memory. Kurt Angle at number 11. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kurt Angle, the way he was able to transition from like the Olympic wrestling to WWE, ridiculous. A freak when it comes to athletics. And then don't even get me started with his comedic chops. Kurt Angle's funny. He's not afraid to get silly. But at the same time, yeah, Sanford 5 says Perk Angle. But at the same time, he was mean. He was nasty. You know, as a heel. My God. You could put him top 10. Yeah, I think you could put Kurt top 10. Bandito is a better wrestler. He was in the first All In. He's right. They're right in the main event with Rey Mysterio as they face the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi. Kurt Angle, though. Shout out to Bandito, too, because they're having those promos on AEW. The Most Wanted Man. Can't wait to see him back. Number 10. We're in the top 10, guys. This is one of our most lengthy live streams that we've done on the channel. We're running on 2 hours here. But hey, if you're just joining us, we're doing the top 50 pro wrestlers of all time. According to Bleacher Report, we've had some disagreements with the list already. But we're about to hit the top 10. At number 10, Hulk Hogan. People who know me, people who have watched the channel, know I don't like Hulk Hogan. I'm not a fan of Hulk Hogan. I'm not a fan of the gimmick. Not a fan of the guy. But I get it. I mean, what he did for the business, the WrestleMania, the early years, putting WWE on the map, you can't argue it. He was a superstar, a megastar. He is the benchmark that people put up for the baby face of the company. I'm not a fan, but I can acknowledge that, yeah, I get it. I get it. He should be top 10. Now, I'm glad he's number 10. Because now we can get to the other 9. Number 9, Roddy Piper. Now we're talking my language. Now we're talking it. I was a Roddy Piper guy. I love Roddy Piper. I look at the pictures. That's a fantastic picture to choose for Roddy Piper. Brash, cocky, arrogant. That smug smile. He would talk his smack and back it up. Roddy Piper is one of the greatest of all time. I absolutely prefer him over Hogan. Now, to be fair, Hulk Hogan's bigger. You know? Hulk Hogan's bigger in terms of the significance of pro wrestling. But personal preference, Roddy Piper, the hot rod. Number 9. Number 8, Shawn Michaels. That's too low. I think Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time. I think he's number 1. I'm curious to see who they put at number 1. I would at least put him at top 5. For me, he's number 1. But I would have accepted top 5. Absolutely. I can do my Mount Rushmore. Absolutely. And it gives me time to think about it too. Because I don't want to do... If we're doing Mount Rushmore, I don't want to do it in terms of my preference. Like, oh, these are my 4 favorites. I'm going to do like... These are the 4 guys that are like the Mount Rushmore. Not my 4 favorites, but just, you know. Shawn Michaels can do it all. Heel, babyface, in-ring work, character work, tag team wrestling. This man had match of the year 11 times in his career, according to whether you believe in PW Insider or the Wrestling Observer. Shawn is the greatest of all time. Selling. I think it's too low. But I would put him over Hogan. Number 7. The Rock. Okay, I think The Rock is fine to be in the top 10. Superstar, the most electrifying man in all of entertainment. He was with the company for 6 years. But you talk about drawing power and you talk about credibility, star power. Can't argue it. And I put him over Hogan too. I would love to see Shawn versus AJ. That would have been fantastic. There were rumors that was going to happen in 2017. Shawn versus AJ Styles. Shawn was going to come out of retirement for that match. How crazy that he didn't come out for that match, but Shawn Michaels comes out of retirement for Crown Jewel? Him and Hunter versus the Brothers of Destruction? They must have paid him a pretty penny to come out of retirement for that god-awful tag team matchup instead of AJ Styles. But I digress. Moving right along. Number 6, Bruno Sammartino. I told you got to honor the past. A champion for 8 years. The living legend. He was basically Superman. I'm fine with this. Number 5, John Cena. Absolutely. The GOAT. I would put him over Hogan. I'd put all these guys over Hogan. Because Hogan wouldn't put anybody over him. John Cena. Oh my God, and he's going to retire next year. The farewell tour. John Cena at number 5. I'm fine with this. I would like to see who... So, okay, real quick. We haven't seen The Undertaker. We haven't seen Bret Hart. That's 2. Who else are we... Stone Cold. I'm doing it like John. So we haven't seen The Undertaker, Bret Hart, or Stone Cold. Who else are we missing? I'm trying to think real quick off the top of my head. The 80s. We already got... Savage? No, Savage hasn't been on this list. Has he? Or am I tripping? No, we haven't seen Savage. Number 4. Wait, before I reveal number 4. WrestleMania 9 is a great example how Hulk Hogan has a huge ego. Isn't that crazy? He had to win the title at WrestleMania 9. Stupid. Oh my God, don't even get me started. Number 4. Number 4? Number 4. So we know Austin and Brett are still on this list. I don't know. Because I said Shawn should be up here. But I like Cena up there. The Undertaker at number 4. I think, yeah, you can put Austin and Brett over Undertaker. Who's the other guy? Number 3. Savage. See, because we haven't seen Savage. But I don't know if I would put him top 3. I'm a fan of Savage. But I don't think I'd put him over The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and John Cena. I don't think I'd put that. Brett Austin match was great at WrestleMania. Yes, the submission match, classic. And number 3, so we know number 2 and 1 is Brett and Austin. I think it's obvious. Number 2 is Brett. Oh, they put Austin at 2. Oh, that's interesting. So they went in ring work. Because if you're talking about the greatest superstar of all time, it's Austin. He saved the WWE during the Monday Night Wars. His character work alone, in ring work, mic work, he is the standard. I talked about Hogan being like the prototypical baby face and how we judge a successful face of the company. But Austin is a star. Austin's an icon. Wow. So that means Bret Hart's number 1. Look at the title. Look at the damn title. It's a beautiful title. Bret at number 1. I'm not mad. I'm a Shawn guy. But I am a huge fan of Bret. This is a very interesting list because you could make the argument for like Shawn, Austin, and Bret. Maybe Taker, but I get why they put Bret here. And I get why they put Austin so high. The Savage one I think is a little, that's, wow. So if you're just joining us, we just did the Bleacher Report top 50 pro wrestlers in WWE history, according to Bleacher Report. If you're just joining us, number 1, Bret Hart. I personally am a Shawn guy, but I get it. I get it with Bret. Have I seen Wrestling with Shadows? Yes. Eerie. Very eerie because it was filmed during the Montreal Screwjob. Yes, The Rock we saw, I believe, was he number 8 Hold on, Kevin. I just want to make sure. Just to recap, our top 10. Hulk Hogan, number 9. Roddy Piper. Number 8 was Shawn. Number 7, The Rock. Number 6, Bruno Sammartino. Number 5, John Cena. Number 4, The Undertaker. And then obviously rounding up the top 3, Macho Man Randy Savage. Number 2, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And at number 1, Bret the Hitman Hart. My grandma and grandpa, they love the WWE and love old wrestlers like Kane and more. Sounds like they have good taste. Sounds like they have great taste. Bret Hart at number 1. I'm not mad. Bret, I mean, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. We talk about Mount Rushmores. I think you have to put Hogan. Again, I'm going in the sense of the business, not personal preference. Because my top 4 is different than a Mount Rushmore. I'm not looking for the best of the best. I'm looking for the most impactful and the most influential. I think you have to put Hulk Hogan. What he did in the 80s, helped structuring WrestleMania, the whole rock and wrestling connection. And we're doing for wrestling. NWO, WCW, I think you have to put Hogan. The next one, I'm going to put The Undertaker. In no particular order. I'm going to have The Undertaker, the greatest gimmick of all time, longevity, kept kayfabe alive for so long. He's a wrestler's wrestler in terms of a leader. I think you have to put The Undertaker. Following them, we have a guy who was big in the business. He helped create the wrestling boom, Hulk Hogan. You have to include the guy that had the second boom, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He has the most iconic t-shirt of all time, Austin 316. I don't even think is there much explanation for Stone Cold? He has to be. Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker. Number 4 for my Mount Rushmore. Again, I'm going off of influence, significance. This, again, it's not my personal list. It's just the overall Mount Rushmore. Can you tell the story of professional wrestling without this person? I have a guy in Hulk Hogan who helped put them on the map in the 80s. You have The Undertaker, who is the ideal leader in kayfabe, the greatest gimmick of all time. Stone Cold, who's probably the greatest star of all time. At number 4, for pro wrestling, I have a couple in mind, but it's hard. Maybe Ric Flair. The Nature Boy, who many people consider to be the pro wrestler, like the greatest pro wrestler of all time. I think it might be Ric Flair. That's my overall Mount Rushmore. And I'm leaving guys off like The Rock and Andre, Shawn, John Cena, Bret Hart. But I think if we're talking about the business and the significance of the business, those are the 4. You can make interchangeable decisions about others. If you wanted to know my personal Mount Rushmore, in terms of who my personal favorites, we're talking Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, Eddie Guerrero, The Rock. That's mine. My personal. Of my favorites. But again, for the business, I think you have to put Hogan for sure. Let's put Flair, Austin, and The Undertaker. I thought about putting Sammartino. But I don't know. That's a really hard question. And the thing with Mount Rushmores too is I feel like they can be interchangeable. Because I might say this today, but then tomorrow I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take off The Undertaker and I'm going to put over Bruno. Mount Rushmores were tough. What are Mount Rushmore? Oh, so that's an awesome question. What's a Mount Rushmore when it comes to matches? So number 1, I think we should talk about them in the sense of like their significance Maybe it's not the best wrestling matches because you could say, like, oh, this match is better than this one. I think for sure, WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. It's not a great match, I know. But that is what sold WrestleMania 3 and helped build WrestleMania to what it is. Right? Another one I think that should be included on the match, or included on the Mount Rushmore. WrestleMania 25, Undertaker versus Shawn. I was able to see 26 and watch the sequel, but I do think that the original still is better. Undertaker versus Shawn. I think in terms of the way wrestling is now, with, the athleticism. Halloween Havoc, 97. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. These are all matches I would show a wrestling fan. These are matches you need to watch that can hook you. Halloween Havoc, 97, Eddie versus Rey. The fourth one. By no means am I saying these are the greatest matches, but I'm looking at them in the sense of, like, this is the Mount Rushmore of what wrestling has become. In terms of, like, encompassing it in 4 matches. King of the Ring 98. Undertaker versus Mankind. I do want to preface that these aren't the best matches. There are better matches. But in terms of the importance and the significance to pro wrestling, I think that's a solid 4. Now, like I said, they're interchangeable. Because I wanted to include, like, WrestleMania 13. Austin versus Bret Hart. Maybe include Ric Flair and Steamboat during their rivalry, whether it was like Clash of Champions or Wrestle Chi-Town, their WCW feud. You could have included that. There are so many matches. It's very difficult to narrow it down. But I like my 4 when it comes to those are the matches. Now, if you ask me if my favorite matches, I'll narrow it down to 4. Because 2 of them are already on that list. Halloween Havoc is one of my favorite matches. WrestleMania 25 and 26, I treat as like a back-to-back feature. As another one, TLC 2. WrestleMania 17 TLC. That's another one I would put on my favorite matches of all time. Anytime my friends tell me wrestling is fake, I tell them to go watch any Brock Lesnar match or the Mankind versus Taker Hell in a Cell. 100%. Mankind versus Taker is always a moment to show wrestling fans who are on the fence. That's always a go-to. That's a great pick. Brock Lesnar's solid because it's believable. I think Brock Lesnar's best matches, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, those are my favorite ones for Brock. His triple threat match against John Cena and Seth Rollins, also great. But I'm more partial to the Bryan Danielson and CM Punk matches, for sure. Awesome stream tonight, guys. We talked a lot about wrestling. We weren't really talking about Monday Night Raw. And I think that's what we're going to start doing. Just talk wrestling. We had a great time here talking about the top 50 wrestlers according to Bleacher Report. Shout out to Kevin once again with the idea. A good Brock. Yeah, that's against AJ. Against AJ. That's a great matchup. Brock versus Rock at SummerSlam is awesome too. I love the fan interaction there. I believe it was in was it in Nassau? Coliseum? It was in New York, I know that. But yeah, AJ Styles was a great matchup. Brock versus Rock is a great matchup. Brock versus Undertaker, but No Mercy 2002. The Hell in a Cell match. I love that one. Brock versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19. He's good. He's great. I will give him that credit. If you want anything, if there's one thing we can count on Brock, it's to have a memorable match. He's really good. The one match we didn't get to see would be against him versus Gunther. I think that match would, oh my God, that match would be great. My favorite Brock memories were when he was the Money in the Bank, especially against R-Truth. Isn't that crazy? That feels like a fever dream. when he was the Money in the Bank winner. I was against it. I thought it was funny having, like the boombox Money in the Bank briefcase. But I was against him winning the Money in the Bank because I didn't think he needed it. Brock is a guy who can just get a title match. And you believe it. The Money in the Bank, I think, should be used to propel guys to the next level. But I will say it was funny. It's seeing him dance around with the boombox briefcase, seeing Paul Heyman's reactions. It was a good time. But yeah, overall, the list, when it came to the top 10, I wasn't mad. I would move around some guys, but from like 50 to 30, there were people where I'm like, I don't know about them. What do you think about Gunther versus Goldberg? If it was like 10 years ago, Goldberg's too old. Hear me out. If it was Gunther versus Goldberg in like an 8-minute match, okay. Because Goldberg can't go long. He can't go long. I think it's more of like a moment. If it was something like Austin versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 38, where it wasn't necessarily a match, it was like a segment where they just beat each other up. Okay. But Gunther versus Goldberg is interesting. I wouldn't be mad if they did it. I would be cautious. I would be worried because I don't want anyone to get hurt. But Goldberg, if not Brock, Goldberg would be interesting. They already hinted it. I believe it was Bad Blood. They hinted that interaction between the two. But that would be something I'm interested in for sure. Real happy with the turnout, guys. Great turnout here for the chat, for the live stream. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Obviously, we had technical difficulties when it came to last night's stream, so I thought, you know what, let's give it a go here on Tuesday night. Now looking on a Wednesday morning for those joining us in the East and West Coast. But overall, a successful live stream. I'm looking to do more live streams, giving more opportunities to connect with you guys and include others in terms of the pro wrestling fandom. I immediately thought about you when I was on the Bleacher Report list. Yeah, and you know what? It was a great idea. I'm thinking about incorporating more of this stuff. Maybe having almost like a... I don't want to say if it was like a news section, but following other articles. I can have them in the corner here and we can discuss them. If I see any other cool stuff, I will make sure to mention it. Yeah, absolutely, please. Absolutely. And keep an eye out too. Soon, hopefully, we'll be able to successfully qualify for memberships. I subscribe, new fan, love what you do, appreciate it. Honestly, thank you so much. And that's what it's all about. I love to have inclusion. I love to include you guys. This is just as much your channel as it is mine. I'm just the guy that you see on the screen. I'm the moderator. I'm the host. But at the end of the day, it's all our show. So appreciate the sub. Appreciate the support. We'll continue to put out quality content like this. Oh, since I have you guys here, I had worked on a video. Tyler made a suggestion in a live stream last week to include some dream matches. I told him, you know what? I don't want to do dream matches on the stream. I wanted to save it. I wanted to do some time. I wanted to plan it out accordingly. Give it some thought. Tomorrow, we're going to be uploading a special video, something that I really had fun doing. I had written out and booked a super card. WWE versus All Elite Wrestling. In the video, I'll give you a little sneak peek. It is an event that I booked as if I was making the show, as if I had the pen and the paper over the course of 2 nights, like a WrestleMania, a supercard, pitting the best of WWE versus All Elite Wrestling. Now, the only caveat to it is rather than just doing dream matches where it's like, oh, this would be a great match, I wanted to do matches that had stakes, that had a story to it. I wanted it to make sense. I wanted to pit someone from WWE that I thought meshed well with AEW, but also made sense as to why are they fighting? Why are they doing battle? So I hope you guys check out that video. It was a lot of fun to plan out, to record, to edit. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please make sure to check it out. AEW versus WWE, my fantasy booking of a supercard event between the two promotions. That'll be up and ready to go for tomorrow. It's already ready to go, but we have it scheduled for uploading tomorrow afternoon. Of course, we have our live stream coming Friday night, barring any issues with live streaming or Wi-Fi. We'll still have the live streams on Friday. Saturday night's main event is going to be taking place, so we'll see how we work around that. Obviously, check out the community tab for any updates like that. How about none? WWE wrestlers versus the world. How about WWE versus the world? Like, not just AEW, but just across the world. Is that what we're talking about? Like other promotions like New Japan. Are we talking about like that? Other promotions? I mean, I would be interested into it. I love the idea of fantasy booking. Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's a possibility too. I want to see how this video does. And I would love to be more open about it and expanding it. Right? Maybe even keeping continuity within it. How crazy would that be? But I'm into the idea of like fantasy booking or dream matching. What I think I would like to do, because I've seen some other channels do this, is they fantasy book a story. So for example, for those who know like Parts Unknown or Wrestle Talk or I think it was Cultaholic, they had like a series of like booking breaking the streak or booking Goldberg's return in 2017. For examples like that. And doing my own spin on it on how I would book. That's something I'm interested in. Again, I want to see how tomorrow's video works out and how it fares in terms of viewership, in terms of reception. But yeah, absolutely. I would be interested in doing some unique videos like that. Obviously, there are some days where we're uploading just clips from the podcast. I want to try to get more people directed towards the J Area Wrestling Podcast, which comes out every Monday. We talk about storylines. We talk about any news going on in the WWE or elsewhere. Obviously, we have our live streams, the Friday 5 count. How would you book the invasion? Oh, see. But see, that's the thing, too. With the invasion, I'm not going to give away too much because that's a great idea for a video. If I'm going to book the invasion, I have to include the people they weren't having access to. Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Ric Flair, Scott Steiner, Sting. I would try to do that version if they had access to them, but they didn't. So I'm not going to do it the version that we saw. If I do a video on how I would book the invasion, in a perfect world, we have access to those. In a perfect world, Triple H doesn't get hurt. We don't see Austin turn heel. So, yeah, that's something definitely. That might be one of the first ones, truthfully. So that would be cool. You'll have all. Okay, see, that's important. They say that you'll have access to all of them. Well, then perfect. That's perfect. Again, I'm not going to say it right now because that's a perfect opportunity to make a video. Plus, I'm very big into planning and writing it out. So that's something I'll try to cook up. Love the idea, though. Love the feedback. Thank you guys for joining me in today's live stream. We're going to go ahead and cut it here. Great content, great conversation. We talked about the top 50 pro wrestlers of all time. We talked about fantasy booking. We talked about Monday Night Raw. A lot of great memories here shared on the stream. Want to continue to voice my appreciation and my support that you guys send my way. I appreciate it. Like I said, this is as much your channel as it is mine. I'm just the moderator. I'm just the host. So to see the interaction, to see the participation and the engagement on a consistent basis from a lot of our, consistent members of the J area. We're seeing a lot of the same people joining the live streams. And as always, I thank you guys for taking the time out of your day, out of your night, to join here and talk pro wrestling with all of us. I want to thank you guys, of course. Keep an eye out for that video talking about AEW versus WWE in a super card. We, of course, have more live streams coming. Keep an eye out for the community tab. I'll update you guys earlier in the day if I do go live. For example, our next day is Friday, following Friday Night SmackDown. If we do anything else, like I said, keep an eye out in the community tab. Of course, we're going to start closing it out here. Any final comments or questions before we head out? We can go ahead and slide those in real quick. But overall, great turnout, great opportunity here to talk with all of you. I look forward to continuing the conversation and continuing the discourse here within the J area of pro wrestling. And we figured out how to put on the screen. We got to see the top 50 here. We'll be adding more content like that. Real happy that the Wi-Fi connection was a lot more successful than it was last night. So that was awesome. Like I said, we're going to go and call it here, guys. Thank you so much for the participation, for joining me in today's special edition of a Tuesday night, Wednesday morning live stream. Great show. So you are in the Cali area I'm from. No, funny enough, not in the Cali area. We are from Arizona. But big Bay Area fans. So we just adopted that into our name here in the J area. So you are in the California. I'm from Florida. Well, greetings. Well, yeah, you're from Florida. It's pretty late over there, isn't it, in Florida? Right on. Appreciate you for stopping by for the chat. Anyway, yeah, we're going to go and close it off here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on the live stream. Like I said, I'll keep you updated if we decide to go live again. If not, be sure to come back Friday night, following Friday Night SmackDown, 11:15 on the West Coast. Not good with the conversions for the East Coast, but that's 11:15 on the West Coast. Appreciate you guys for stopping by as always. With that being said, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll all catch you guys in the next time.